Hi, I'm Troy Sims. I'm the Minister of Discipleship here at Williamsburg United Methodist, and I'm one of the pastors. It's a pleasure to be able to be here with you today for our midweek video. One of the things I want to talk about today is a book study that I'm currently leading using the book The Powers That Be by Walter Wink. I'm not going to lie, this was a transformative book for me and honestly continues to be one for me. This was a book that I read back in seminary in my next to the last semester there in seminary, and I think one of the things that helped it be so transformative is it kind of helped bring together all the things I've been learning in seminary in a new way. But really more than that, it was for the first time I saw very clearly how countercultural Jesus was, how much Jesus challenged the status quo. And I'd never really noticed that before. And this book just brought it out so clearly. And I realized I had a lot to live up to, that those things Jesus said, Jesus meant. And that was very powerful for me to begin to try to live into. And I'm still trying to live into it because Jesus was so countercultural, so standing up to the status quo that there's no way that I've come near living into that. But one of the things that I do in the study is I show some video clips that feature Walter Wink, who wrote the book, as well as Reverend Dr. James Forbes, and also Reverend Janet Wolfe. And these were videos that were created right before the book was written and kind of helped in formulating the book. But Reverend Janet Wolfe tells this story, and it's interesting. She talks about this guy named Ricky. Ricky had been a part of the drug underworld in a different city from where she was working and serving at the time. And Ricky had tried to flee that underworld and had come and was participating in this outreach ministry that Reverend Wolfe was working with. Well, in the process of that, he heard the good news of the gospel and wanted to change his life and felt a need to be baptized. But wasn't quite sure what that meant. So Reverend Wolfe and her team kind of helped him to think through what baptism meant, walked him through the baptismal vows, which in short form is to renounce the spiritual forces of wickedness, to reject the evil of the world, to repent of your sin, in other words, to say no to all the other stuff in life that might want to define us. It also includes, accept the freedom and power that God gives you to resist evil, injustice, and oppression in whatever forms that they present themselves. But also it's the vow is, do you trust in the grace of Jesus Christ? Well, Ricky was a little nervous because that's asking an awful lot. He wasn't sure he could live into that, but they said, it's a part of what the life of faith. You do it every day, and you've got a community to help you with that. So he was baptized. He found himself a job, was really getting back on his feet. Well, one day he came back to his room there at the ministry, and there was a guy sitting on the edge of his bed holding a gun. And he knew who the guy was because he was from the underworld, the drug underworld from where he had come. And the guy says, now, Ricky, what you're going to do, you're going to come back and you're going to testify and you're going to say that there's this guy, there's no way he could have killed your buddy because you were having dinner with him and, it couldn't happen. You're good friends with him anyway. And so it just couldn't happen. And he said, gosh, I can't do it. I've been baptized. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? I got a gun here. You're going to come back. You're going to testify in court. And if you don't, we're going to shoot you. And Ricky says, I know. It's bad. You might have to shoot me. But I've been baptized. I've been baptized. Well, the guy was flummoxed, and he walks out of the room holding his gun. Baptized, baptized. What's he talking about being baptized? But here's the thing I love about that story. Baptism isn't just a ritual we go through. Baptism is a gift of God's grace. It's an invitation to live a different way, but it isn't just the invitation. It's also the grace to live that different way, that grace to live counterculturally, that grace that lets us stand up to the status quo, that grace that helps us to live a different life. And that's one of the things that I learned so deeply from this particular book, and why it was so transformative. And so I invite you to think about your baptismal vows. What do they mean to you? How are you seeking to live into them? And I'm not just asking you, I'm asking myself that because, as I said, I still, to this day, am not living up to the full potential of what Jesus invites us to. But here's the hope. God gives us the grace to live into that. And that's all God asks us to do, is to do our best with God's grace. And that's all we need. Thanks be to God. Thanks for being here today. Have a great day.